We're less than
Oh, yeah.
We're live. Hey, how about that? We're less than a week from free agency. Working the kinks out. We got to be ready for next week. This is the welcome to the show. And we're going to get into who the Arizona Cardinals, who our top targets are. Johnny and mine, JV.
Hey, guess what? The franchise tag deadline came and went. Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, welcome to the family. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. There's some boys in this house. The PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. 6 days away. NFL free agency preview. I'm Johnny Venerable. I don't know why I'm putting question marks on everything. He's Brack in Studio K. Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic. How's everybody living here on a football Tuesday, 24 hours removed from the best damn Jonathan Gannon interview you will ever see on this show, exclusive for your boys? How we living?
We're living well. Surreal. That's what it was yesterday, especially all those who were so complimentary, so nice. Thank you to everybody that reached out about the JG interview. We appreciate you. The haters, too. It was a bad day to be a hater of this fanboy podcast yesterday, and it's because of all of you out there. How about Lorenzo, Shaft, Jess, K2, Dana, Claymore Jones, Brian, Michael Evans, Nick, Fishbowl, Flash back in here, Amanda Beach. How we doing? Very good, PHNX. No doubt about it. Huge show on tap, and I'm excited to be here. Hit that like button.
I'd love to like it. I'd love to like a free agency period for once in my flipping life with this franchise. What's up, everybody in the chat? Bo and I are debuting our top 10 Arizona Cardinal free agent targets later in the show, so buckle up. There's going to be some names that you know and some names maybe that you don't know. I know this. We got a robust potato bread super chat to kick off the show. Let's rip this Band-Aid off here on this fanboy podcast. Potato bread, $19.99. Excited for a free agency next Wednesday. But what are y'all predictions of the Trey McBride extension? Getting it done soon? Question mark. I would say I'd be pretty surprised if Trey McBride signs before free agency. He's under contract. I think they'd like to get him signed maybe certainly before training camp. But, I mean, there's been no inclination from Trey or his representatives that they would hold out. I think the Cardinals are squarely, firmly locked into the targets ahead of next Monday. Potato bread. Bo, do you agree?
No, I mean, Monti Ossenfort mentioned at his press availability last week in Indianapolis that what Trey McBride's extension would provide to him is clarity where it would be as far as cap-wise, like how much, because if they are signing guys come the tampering period next Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday when a free agency officially opens with the new league year, how much they'll be adding to next year's cap, because that's what's going to be important with Trey McBride here is he's signing an extension that's going to go beyond his 4th year. He's going to be under contract, obviously, his rookie deal, 4 years that he signed. He's going into his 4th season. So that money would be on the books in 2026 and beyond. So like if you're going to send some big money free agents, how's that going to impact the cap going forward? So there might be some value into it. I mean, we'd love to see it. We'd love to break some news before breaking a lot of news next week as far as free agents signing in the desert. Why not one signing to stay in the desert?
Do you feel like, Trey McBride, they have a number in mind, just working it out over the course of the next couple of months? Because I think we both agree he's going to be the top paid tight end in the NFL at that point.
We haven't seen a tight end sign like a big money deal since TJ Hawkinson. I think it was in the 2023 season when he made his way and to the Minnesota Vikings. I I think that they just kind of use that as the blueprint and then build on that. Obviously, you've got what money's worth these days, and that's inflated a little bit. So Trey McBride, does it go from what you project to be like $75 million deal to $80 million in total money? What's the guaranteed money look like for Trey McBride? But look, he's going to be top paid tight end in the NFL history whenever he does get that deal.
We're going to be talking about Trey McBride over the course of the offseason, but today we kick things off before our top 10 with some breaking news that happened earlier today. That is the franchise tag deadline. There it is. Beep, beep. Arnie Palmy alert. Who wants an Arnie Palmy at a free agency? Franchise tag was robust last year. If you remember, we were at the combine when the tag deadline came, and Justin Matabuke, who we know is a Cardinal target last year, that was ripped away from the Redbirds and other teams as the franchise tag was placed by Baltimore. Only 2 players were tagged over the course of the last several days in its entirety. T. Higgins, top wide receiver on the market, and then, of course, Trey Smith, Kansas City, the top guard on the market. We didn't expect either player to be tagged, but Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, presumed top targets for the Arizona Cardinals, defensive tackle, defensive edge rusher, respectfully for the Arizona Cardinals, both available, officially official ahead of free agency, Bo.
Yeah, and Damon Dawg pointing out this little tidbit that made its way onto the Twitter streets today that with Osa Odighizuwa signing his deal, he's the 14th highest paid player at his position. Yeah, there it is. This is via Spot Track. Cowboys and Osa, they've come to terms on a 4-year, $80 million extension that has $58 million guaranteed. The $20 million ranks at 14th among DT contracts. And the way the franchise tag works is it's the average, right, of the top 5 contracts at that position. And if $20 million a year is that's on the lower end, it's not even in the top 10, then Milton Williams, it would cost some coin to just franchise tag him. And with Philly giving away an exorbitant contract to Saquon Barkley, who absolutely deserves it, and obviously all the stars already on that roster that they're paying, and Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, it just becomes tough for them to really allocate a full, $20+ million to Milton Williams or Josh Sweat, who's going to be right there too if he received the franchise tag.
Milton Williams, you would assume now, is in line to make anywhere between $22 to $24 million per year. I think anybody who just tries to slot it in, well, Osa makes 21. Milton Williams is going to make 22. If you've got an opportunity to hit the open market and have teams leverage your services against each other, that number is going to be inflated. Like Milton Williams is going to be overpaid. Josh Sweat's going to be overpaid. Welcome to free agency. But you just want an opportunity, right? You want a shot at these guys. You want to crack at the plate. The disheartening thing for, I know, like Chicago Bear fans who had to pivot today to Jonah, what was it? Jonah Jackson? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Top, guard from last year kind of flamed out. It's because they know that they're not going to be able to get Trey Smith. So they had to make that trade. Familiarity with Jonah Jackson and Ben Johnson. Cardinals don't have to mess with that. The best part about getting Milton Williams and Josh Sweat in your building, if the Cardinals and Ossenfort are able to pull this off, Bo, is it doesn't cost you anything more than just money. It doesn't cost you picks, doesn't cost you premium resources, young developmental players. Cardinals need all of that still. The worst part about the Keim era was the fledgling use of draft picks, trading a first-round pick for Hollywood Brown, trading what equated to 2/3 for Rodney Hudson. Old, broken, expensive, right? The Cardinals are going to roll the dice next week. We feel like they're going to cut some big checks, but they're going to hopefully retain, save for a monster trade for a pass rusher. They're going to retain their draft capital, and that's important. So you can get out of deals in the NFL. Look what happened, and we're going to talk about it, over the course of the last couple of off seasons where it's like, Deebo Samuel signs an extension. He's gone. Niners are trying to shop Brandon Ayuk. Like, you put it brilliantly, I thought, at the combine. It's like, you're going to sign Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. You want these guys to produce. You really only need them to produce for 2 seasons. That's it. That's where the guaranteed money is.
Right. Yeah. And you have to start kind of looking at it. I mean, you talk about being able to get out from underneath deals. The Rams signed a deal with Jonah Jackson this
Yeah.
time last offseason, wanted out from under it, and they found a trade partner, a very desperate team, the Chicago Bears. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it mixed up. They're desperate for offensive lineman needs. They're terrible up front, and they wanted to get that familiar name, Jonah Jackson, in there, and they were willing to pay a price. And it looks, relatively a little bit smaller than what the top guards are going to command, even with Trey Smith off the market. But you start to, you go shopping and you're going down the aisles of free agency and you look at, the big name brand stuff. And then you start to look at, things below that and their price tag. And look, Milton Williams, I think that needs to be priority number one for the Arizona Cardinals, because once you start that and we look at the effective cap space, the Arizona Cardinals are third in the NFL. Look at Damon, Dawg. Ghost hands over here. Got it right up. 74.7 million, almost 75 million in cap space. That's what, a third of what you would be spending as far as, potentially this upcoming season, depending on how you structure his deal. Or if you go whole Howie Roseman and throw a bunch of void years in there, it's possible. But I think the Milton Williams, if you get him or Sweat, it does kind of take down the opportunity to get both. Like it would be that would be, you'd be thinking about 2/3 of your money in two players.
Whatever.
And I I know that the roster kind of warrants it at this point. Like they've done a lot of the heavy lifting, but that's still something that is a tough pill to swallow as a team builder when you can kind of, we've seen Monti Ossenfort want to spread the wealth a little bit more. So it's like 25 million. Let's just round up for Milton Williams at the defensive tackle position. And then let's round up for, Sweaty J, Josh Sweat, 20 million. That's 45 million. And then what do you have left to really deal with? I know you're doing the quick math there. It's about, 18, 19 million to get there. But that's probably then you're going to have to go look and be more savvy as far as your free agent spending goes after that.
Yeah, I just don't care. I don't care about what it costs. I appreciate your willingness to break that down for us, and you are 100% accurate. It is not usually good business to take the majority of your cap space and space that over two players.
You're Lloyd Christmas and Dumb and Dumber when you go out and get the essentials. You go get
there
the essentials.
Go.
You got a gigantic oversized foam cowboy hat. You've got smut magazines. You've got what's the thing, the bouncy thing on the paddle, like that. That's what you just spent all your money on in junk food.
These are IOUs.
They're just as good as money.
I am Lloyd Christmas, and Christmas is going to come early for the Arizona Cardinals and their fan base. The fan base deserves this. The Cardinals are atrocious at edge rusher, and outside of Darius Robinson, there's nobody to build around the defensive tackle. That's a starter. You have two defensive linemen that played and were marquee players for the Super Bowl champions that are in their mid-20s, especially Milton Williams is in that sweet spot, 26 years old. Yes, please. We're going to talk and give our breakdown later, but obviously Milton Williams should be the priority, but that does not mean, as Benjamin Albright put it on our show on set last week at the NFL Combine, Cardinals are going to go after both players, right? Now, he put it as Sweaty J having the better chance to land with the Cardinals. I think you can flip a coin depending on who you talk to, but sweet spot, 26 years old for Milton Williams, was drafted, molded, and developed by Jonathan Gannon. You see Gannon, JG celebrating that war room the night he was drafted. I just feel like who else are you going to spend money on? Who is worth it? Again, I go back to everybody. Let's just do an exercise when the show is over today, not during the show. Eyes here. But when the show is over, go to overthecap.com. Look who the Cardinals are paying. They're not paying anyone. Steve Keim couldn't find a draft pick with his eyes closed. There's nobody worth extending on this roster. So save for the bevy of new first and second year players that Ossenfort has acquired, and this 4 or 5 players that have made it through the gauntlet with Ossenfort, the Kyler Murrays, the Budda Bakers, right? Those kind of players, the James Conner. There's nobody making money on this roster.
Right.
Nobody. So I'm sorry. Like, that's why it's so hilarious. Let's see those top 10 salary caps available here. Let's find the common denominator. Oh, Patriots don't have a quarterback. Raiders don't have a quarterback making any money. Bears don't have a quarterback making any money. Vikings, the top 5 teams, 4 of them have either rookie quarterback deals or, in the Raiders' case, nobody to pay. Yet the Cardinals are paying Kyler Murray $50 million because nobody else is making anybody money, because nobody else is any good. Nobody else is worth paying over $20 million. So if you have an opportunity to get two blue chip marquee players, presumably from the Super Bowl champions, that just whoop Patrick Mahomes' ass, and you're going to say, you know what? I don't know if that's good business. We're going to go bargain bin DVD shopping again for free agency this year. We're going to sign a bunch of players from Mid-City USA, and we're going to watch these guys underperform each and every Sunday. I'm done doing that. I think the Cardinals are too.
Yeah.
You watched our Gannon interview. You saw him say there are certain ways to attack every offseason. It's not all the same.
Yeah. I got my I sent you a letter recently, and the return address, it was Mid-City USA, no doubt about it. I love it. I mean, it's what's gonna come down to is Monty willing to pony up on two premium free agents. What we've realized, what we've seen, just kind of looking at the free agents, is Josh Sweat presents has the highest floor as far as these free agent pass rushers go. Otherwise, you're just kind of you're buying and overpaying for guys that like Malcolm Kuntz's situation is production that he projects to potentially have if he stays healthy. So it's like there's like when we talk to Gannon, when we talk to Monti Ossenfort and the unknowns about free agency, I think guys coming obviously as proven commodities from one of the healthiest rosters, Milton Williams, Josh Sweat, the production that they had in the biggest game of the season, Super Bowl Sunday. It helps you, and obviously the relationship with Nick Rawls and Jonathan Gannon, it helps you kind of make your case for him. It's one of the more sure things in a very inexact science as far as NFL free agency goes.
I think Milton Williams is grossly needed on this team, and I think he will be the top target for the Arizona Cardinals. But I can wrap my brain around like people saying, well, you've got Darius, you took a bunch of DTs last year, they got hurt. Like, you can make that argument. It's not a good argument, but you can make it. Bo, how many free agent edge rushers has Monti Ossenfort added in free agency the last 2 years combined?
What was the question again?
How many free agents at edge rusher has Monti Ossenfort signed in free agency the past 2 years? You want some help? You want a lifeline?
No, I think I'm good. It's that 0.
It's funny. 0 is also the number of starting caliber edge rushers the Cardinals have on their roster. 0 plus 0 is 0.
Wow.
The Cardinals
I was getting a free math lesson today.
Welcome to mathematics with Johnny V here ahead of free agency.
I gave you one earlier about all the millions you want to just throw at the issue. And it doesn't seem to matter. It's like, I want them. Money, please. But then you're just like, they don't have anybody.
Money, please.
Look, there's at least this offseason, though, if you get, like, my point would be, if you get Milton Williams, it doesn't close the door on your ability to improve at the edge rusher position. It's just you have to be aggressive in the next stages of the offseason. Like, you have to go into the NFL draft, and instead of getting one, you probably have to get 2 or maybe 3.
We're trying to make the playoffs, trying to win the NFC West. We're going to talk about, the window closing for San Francisco. We pour one out for them later in the show. You can put a death nail in some of these teams by hitting a home run the next 2 weeks. For once, be proactive, right? Ossenfort and Gannon deserve it. Up around the corner, our top 10 PHNX Cardinals free agents post the tag deadline. You're not going to want to miss it. Coming right up. But first, you're not going to want to miss shade season here in Arizona. What is shade season? Well, it's about to get flipping hot here. It's already gorgeous outside, but sometimes you want to sit in the shade, especially when it's triple digits. What you can do is extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning. Hundreds of designs and colors to choose from to match any home that you've got. They've got motorized and retract with a remote control, with all LED lighting to light up your patio under the awning. I always drive by, I see All Pro Shades, and I'm like, how do I get me some of that? Well, here's how. Get hooked up right now. Call 623-604-1476. It's on the screen now, or you can check them out. See their robust selection at allproshades.com. Guess what? Free estimate. It's not going to cost you anything. Speaking of 0, that's how much they're going to cost. to be able to come out and give you a quote. They're licensed, bonded, and insured. The business, which, by the way, has been 20 years in the making here in the Valley, started out making window shades by hand for friends. Then people loved them. Now they're one of the largest installers of patio roll shades and motorized awnings in the Valley. Again, allproshades.com. Schedule your free estimate today. Do it now before it gets to 110 in the blink of an eye.
Let's talk about delicious pizza. Spanato's Pizzeria. You can't beat it. It is at least once a week treat for me and my family. And you can win pizza for a year. Just got to visit SpanatosPizzeria.com and click the link in the show notes. So many different locations around the Valley. My personal one, where me and my family go and enjoy ourselves some za, is 7th Street in Missouri. Get in on Spanato's. It's going to help you enjoy Suns games, which are tough to enjoy these days, right? It's your one-stop shop for Suns basketball. It's the official pizza of the Suns, and they've got watch parties with dancers, the gorilla. They've got their own basketball game of horse, but it's Pizza, where you can win prizes. We love what's going on at Spanato's Pizzeria. It's always delicious. We love the spicy Italian. My son loves their kids' cheese pizza. It's unreal what's going on there. It's the best pizza in the Valley. Free pizza, tickets for a year to a Suns game on April 9th. What's better than that? Free tickets, free pizza. Feel the energy, cheer on your team, and win big. Don't miss a chance to be a part of the action. Mark your calendars, Suns fans at Spanato's. Get all the info on the watch parties and pizza basketball contest at SpanatosPizzeria.com. Spanato's, the official pizza of the Phoenix Suns.
Everybody drop a like on this video. We got over 400 watching live right now. Jump on over, smash that like button. It helps exponentially. It's how we get guests like Jonathan Gannon, like Trey McBride that you see on the screen. We welcome everybody as we unveil our top 10 free agent list. But before we do, I think it's fair to say, like, you and I, on the surface level, Milton Williams will be our top choice as a show, correct? Damon, are you in on that as well?
Yeah, if you're in our Discord last night, after I, did my daily gym sesh, I literally put, "We want Milton." That was my comment from last night's.
Wow.
Appreciate that.
I mean, I just figured, singled him out specifically. Yes, I do want Milton.
Who doesn't? We want the Milton.
Do we have to make a case? It's like he next to Darius Robinson. I know it's not a traditional edge rusher, but you can move D-Rob over to edge rusher on heavy downs. You can draft an edge rusher. You can sign a mid-tier guy, then draft an edge rusher high. You should have all those in the equation. I mean, there are a few things as valuable in the NFL as a disrupting defensive tackle that can get you pressure sacks. The Eagles just so happen to have a surplus in Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, right? And they're retooling after their Super Bowl. This was a player that was basically hand-selected like a Max Melton now by Jonathan Gannon. I mean, it would be, you're going to hear this messaging a lot over the course of the next 5 days as we prep for Monday, Bo. It would be a huge indictment of Monti Ossenfort if he did not sign Milton Williams on Monday. I think we're both in the same ballpark. I think yes, it would. It would be a huge indictment.
Let's see how the dominoes fall as far as free agency before we start, tossing around words like indictment. As far as the Cardinals general manager goes,
Damon, would it not be an indictment?
It's the deepest defensive tackle class as far as the NFL draft goes. So you have to keep that in mind before people start getting on the top of the highest buildings in Phoenix, because Monti Ossenfort didn't sign Milton Williams to a $25 million contract. Let's not be that extreme.
No, we're taking the kid gloves off.
Free agency, yeah. Then I'll start to say, hey, this is an indictment on your on the general manager.
I just think it would be an indictment if another team came in and stole Milton Williams away for a reasonable number, like the ones we're discussing. I think it'd be an indictment of the Cardinals.
And I reasonable number too. But if a team's going crazy,
$30 million for Milton Williams, you're not going to do that, right? And maybe the Patriots do that with they got too much money, they don't know what to do with it. But we'll see how that goes. Teams rejected the Patriots' money last year, and because nobody.
I think Vrabel changes a lot of that. I think Mike Vrabel changes a lot of that. But they still have a long way to go as far as roster building. They should be in a position like the Cardinals were last year, where they're just looking for floor guys, and then they're going to focus on the draft, their high draft pick, and trying to build around Drake May. That should be their assignment this offseason. But the Cardinals' assignment should be going out, being aggressive in free agency, using their top 3 cap money and getting themselves a dog in free agency. That's not going to cost you any draft capital. It's just going to cost you what you have to pay the player per season. And if it's high, like if it's $20 to $25 million, they should be willing to do that.
Without further ado, let's unveil it. PHNX Cardinals top 10 Arizona Cardinal targets ahead of free agency. No surprise atop this list. Milton Williams firmly seated, 26 years old, at number 1. Damon, don't think I have forgiven you for putting Malcolm Kuntz as the graphic. Now I can't repurpose this.
I had to take the link where I could get him, Johnny. You put Malcolm Kuntz on this list, and I just said to myself, I guess he's the graphic then. I guess it's all
when was
about
that
Malcolm
picture
Kuntz.
taken? Was that in 2020? When was that picture taken?
Kuntz. That's all. I'm going to hear that in State Farm Stadium, just ringing.
I will absolutely use this graphic, Damon, because real baller knowers that Malcolm Kuntz has some upside. That's why he's 6th on our list. Milton Williams, no doubt about it, though. He is the top target for the Arizona Cardinals, right? What he would provide and give them a bona fide rotational defensive tackle to add to their defense instead of just having guys that are depth players having to lead the charge. Milton Williams, he changes that. It changes the complexion of what you want to do defensively, as far as what you want to do as far as getting after a quarterback, slowing down the run game, being able to potentially bring 4 at one point when this offseason is all said and done, and being able to generate pressure. Milton Williams gives you that. And so does this guy who's number 2 on our list, and Sweaty J. That's what we like to call him on this podcast. Our guys from PHLY tipped us off. That's his nickname, Josh Sweat, coming off the edge. He's played under Jonathan Gannon before. He had his most productive season under JG, 11 sacks in 2022. Was an absolute beast that year, and has been steady since. Like, have you seen like eye-popping sack numbers? No, but he's had sack numbers that would have led the Arizona Cardinals in the last 2 seasons. He raises the floor and brings a familiarity to JG's defense into a position of need for the last, since Gannon took over.
Yep, those are the clear-cut top 2 on a tier of their own, given their familiarity and the positions of need. Speaking of position of need, guard takes the reins at 3 and 4. Will Fries out of Indianapolis is unequivocally the best available guard after Trey Smith was tagged with the transition tag by Kansas City. Fries, he's a good pass protector. He's an elite. He's one of the best run-blocking guards in the NFL. He rated at 85 this year via PFF. In the prime years of his playing age, in his mid to late 20s, somebody that could immediately come in and provide a stalwart at left guard. You can argue the impact of a guard, but when you've got Kyler Murray susceptible to interior pressure, I don't think you can underscore how important it is for the Cardinals to improve here. We know they're going to target a guard of some kind. We're told they'd rather do that than maybe look for a developmental guy in the draft. So whether it's Fries or number 4 on this list, you talk about sweaty guys. Mekhi Becton at number 4, kick the bus label. Once upon a time was a bust for the New York Jets. Howie Roseman said, we'll help you rebuild your image. Came to Philadelphia, moved positions, and prospered, and was one of the best guards in the entire NFL last year. You worry what he would do with a big bag of cash. Could the Cardinals, keep his playing weight at a good, stable place? There was concerns about him being a little too heavy with the Jets. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that he's ironed that out, and I think he's poised to cash in this offseason, Bo.
Yeah, I mean, I like both these guys. Fries suffered an injury. He was limited to 5 games this past season. Johnny hates that stuff. He'll turn his nose up at it. But he broke his leg. It wasn't like ACL or anything like that. It wasn't Achilles. It was a break, which sometimes is, as far as the recovery goes, Fries should be fine. And before that, he was steady Eddie in that guard position for the Colts. So I don't have any concerns as far as his injury history. And then Mekhi Becton, puking before training camp or multiple times. We were talking to our Eagles guys, and he's just a puker. He's just a guy that gets a little sick. That's just his MO. And you talk about, how he was a bust with the Jets, but, he was a guy that kicked inside and played unbelievably well. The Eagles are banking on that he's going to be a guy that's going to take a discount because they were able to revive his career. I don't think they're going to have that luxury. If they do, then, a tip of the cap to Mekhi Becton, but I think he's going to be able to get some money and command it on the free agent market that, Philly's going to have to be really going to have to monitor how high that price goes up because, a hometown discount when you're leaving, $5-10 millions on the table becomes tough to swallow.
Speaking of discounts, could they get Hassan Reddick, number 5 on this list, for pennies on the dollar compared to what he was hoping for last year with the Jets? Now, Benjamin Albright on our show last week said he doesn't envision that being a match, but people get desperate enough. We know that Reddick wants to come back and play for Gannon. So I don't expect Reddick to sign early. I think that unless it is with Gannon in a soft landing spot with familiarity for Hassan, I think he could be waiting a few weeks to see how this settles and see maybe it's a bad year, let's just say, for Hassan Reddick to be a free agent off bad optics in the fall and holding out on the Jets in a year where the best position you could argue in the draft is edge rusher. It's just not a good combination if you're Hassan Reddick. But I think the Cardinals could take advantage. I think Milton Williams, again, I think the best place the Cardinals can be is to pay Milton Williams and get Hassan Reddick on a cheap 1 to 2 year prove-it deal. And I love Josh Sweat. And if they sign Josh Sweat, I'll be fired up. But you talk about the lack of commitment that you'll have to make to Reddick, where you could probably do something similar that you did with like Jonah Williams. Front load 1 to 2 years, do a void year, and see how the chips fall. See what kind of player you get in the 2025 NFL draft. Let's see that list one more time, Damon. Because outside of Josh Sweat, there's not a defensive end edge rusher here without significant questions. And you could argue Sweat's got his own set of questions, but at least he's in the prime of his career. Reddick's old. Malcolm Kuntz is coming off injury, and Khalil Mack is also old. He's 32, 33 years old. So I think none of these edge rushers, it should behoove the Cardinals from drafting an edge rusher in the first or second round. It just comes with, right. And it comes with varying degrees of who are you paying, how many years, what are the guarantees? And, it's like, okay, if you get Milton Williams, what can you afford? If you don't get Milton Williams, what can you splurge on, right? Could you do a Sweat and a Will Fries? Could you do a Sweat and a Mekhi Becton, right? Could you do a Sweat and, a Tevin Jenkins? These are the combinations that they're going to have to explore because we know the top 4 positions, edge, D-tackle, guard, and linebacker, are what they're going to address in free agency.
Right. And if they do whiff on Milton Williams, I do think that they at least get somebody to add to the edge room and then look to this really strong defensive tackle class to finish off that room going into the 2025 season. But no, I think that's the type of shopping you need to do. Like, you start to look at it and you start to combo these guys up because you've identified what like your 3 biggest remaining needs are. And it's the 2 on the defensive front 7 at defensive tackle and at edge. And then it's, looking for that big guard. That's going to be an upgrade of, you've had some really solid guard play the last 2 seasons, but you're looking for somebody that's kind of a big time impact maker, like somebody that you're just going to be able to set it and forget it. And I think Fries, it gives you the opportunity to get that. And then Becton, if he can replicate the success he had in Philly, especially during their title run, like, that's an upgrade at the position. And then you start to like really kind of manipulate the numbers, look at them. So if it's $25 million for Sweat, then realistically, unless you're also in on $25 million for Williams, then you might not be in on Sweat. Can you get a Kuntz? Can you get a Hassan Reddick at a cheaper rate and also afford a guard or an off-ball linebacker?
Let's go back to the list one more time. We're looking at the final picks here of our top 10 free agents for the Arizona Cardinals ahead of free agency. Tevin Jenkins, Chicago's letting him walk, Bo. That, we've had some questions on his viability, but you can't argue the talent in combination with the years. But I think Cardinals could go a couple different ways at guard. Same thing with a guy like Dre Greenlaw at 10. I mean, Kazir White's being allowed to test the market. He's being allowed to, walk by the Arizona Cardinals. He even posted a goodbye like a month ago. Dre Greenlaw has, we're told, a 1-year contract on the table. It's out there. It's on Twitter with the Niners, and he wants to test the market. And he's 27 years old, and he's over a year removed from, blowing his Achilles at the Super Bowl. And he looked good last year in limited play. I think if you're able to secure the front 7 players that you desire, those front 4, Dre Greenlaw pissed off on a prove-it deal or a 2-year deal, ready to stick it to the rest of the NFC West. I saw what Bobby Wagner did for the Washington Commanders this year. I'm not writing off these, ex-Seahawk and 49er linebackers anymore. I think they've got plenty left in the tank. Greenlaw was super productive. He's a Pro Bowler. He might have been an All-Pro at one point. As much as I like Kazir White and I like what Gannon can do with undersized linebackers, getting an alpha dog like Greenlaw, I think would be a great coup for them, especially with name value, to come in here and that would signify with a Milton Williams and a Josh Sweat, this is not your typical Cardinal front seven anymore.
Yeah, that's too big of an offseason. I mean, the Cardinals would outright win the offseason if that's the class that they bring in. Even if they just land Sweat and Williams, like they're going to get just the highest scores, I think, of the offseason. So that's why it seems a bit far-fetched to me. Like I could take one and then you start to look at some, secondary, third tier guys at the other positions and then turn to the draft. But it's possible that the money's there, the salary cap money's there. So like I think defensive tackle, like edge is the main need to me. Defensive tackle, I think Milton Williams gets the nod because he's the most talented player. So, but I look at the Cardinals' needs as edge, it's defensive tackle, it's guard, it's off-ball linebacker, it's backup quarterback.
That's the big five.
And then a wide receiver potentially.
We were going to put Daniel Jones on this list, but we thought we might get spammed, ratioed into, YouTube hell. So we opted not to do that. So an honorable mention here. And we know the Cardinals called on him last year when he was released. Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones. But we feel like Daniel Jones is going to have some real options this offseason.
Yes, people look at him and view him as a backup for sure. And that's what we view him as. We're not looking at him as QB1. Like, can you come in? Can you learn the offense? Can you be, somebody in that room with Kyler Murray? I think that's where Daniel Jones has value. If it's like, hey, this guy is the future of the position, count me out of that. But I think he's got a lot of the thing. He checks a lot of boxes for the Cardinals and what they want from a QB. You just look at Monti Ossenfort's kind of type. What he drafted, Clayton Tune from Houston, who he's brought in. The facility from Josh Dobbs to Jeff Driscoll to last year Desmond Ridder, guys that are like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4", strong armed. And mobile, have a little bit of mobility to them. So those are the positions. Damon, thoughts on leaving DJ off the list? Daniel Jones.
Sorry, I was like DJ Humphries. What are we talking about? Yeah, I mean, I obviously he's not a top 10 guy. I don't think compared to these guys based off impact wise. We saw Kyler play all season, but I think Daniel Jones is one of the better backup quarterbacks in the league. I don't think that's anything to turn your nose at.
Okay, so did we do wrong? Like we wouldn't have been ratioed into oblivion?
No, I think that these other guys would be more impactful because they'll be playing, starter snaps on this team, right?
You're right. No one wants to lose out on Milton Williams or Hassan Reddick or Dre Greenlaw because we had to put money away and we had to, commit resources to Danny Dimes. I think people would have an outrage.
But you think they would commit resources to a backup quarterback?
I do, but I think you gotta TCB, man. You gotta take care of business and appease everybody while making your team better. And then 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks after free agency, it's like a random Tuesday. It's like, oh, beep, Daniel Jones is a Cardinal. It's like, oh, okay. Don't hate that. Jacoby Brissett's a Cardinal. Totally fine. If I get a Danny Dimes Cardinal signing anytime next week, I'm going to throw up on air. I don't want that. Hey, Milton Williams is still available. Oh, Cardinals, they've completed a 2-year deal with Danny Dimes. It's not going to be a good day.
The only player that we left off that I was, questioning, I think, was Nick Bolton, which I mentioned to you guys before the show. I think Nick Bolton, he's 24 years old, played a lot of high quality football. I think that you can make the argument that he belongs on this list.
I just don't have him as I think Dre Greenlaw is a better player at the position.
Nick Bolton to me is a little slow. He looks slow sometimes when he plays, and he's undersized. But I would have no issue with them signing him. I mean, I almost feel like the same way about off-ball linebacker than I do about quarterback. It's like I don't want to talk about any of these other guys until I know what's happening with Sweat and Milton Williams, and to a lesser extent with Hassan Reddick. I don't want to hear about fringe mid-tier guys. We got questions yesterday about What's happening with Roy Lopez? It's like, don't want to talk about it. Don't care right now. Not a priority. Let's run it back with the players that overachieve but are super limited. Don't care.
No disrespect, not a priority.
No. Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday are reserved for big dogs. It's about getting, like my bark, it's about getting the best to wear cardinal red.
Put that dog down, unfortunately.
It's
he sounds ill.
Here's the theme for early next week. You ready for the theme? It's about snapping necks and cashing checks in free agency for the Arizona Cardinals. Snapping necks on the defensive line and writing big fat checks if you're Monti Ossenfort. It's done. That's all I care about.
I like that. We can go with that.
What do you think about that, Dave?
I think that's hard as hell, Johnny. You come up with that yourself?
No, I stole that from
Dawg.
Yeah, it might have been. It might have been from Step. I think it's from Step Brothers. I think Will Ferrell says it in Step Brothers. I had to redeem myself after my bark. People are hating on my bark.
Chihuahua Venerable.
We got more info on free agency, Kyler Murray's supporting cast, and we're going to debut a brand new segment right around the corner on PHNX Cardinals. But first, I'm fired up. It's Raceway season with our friends at NASCAR. NASCAR returns to Phoenix Raceway March 7th through the 9th. Join us as the stars of NASCAR battle it out for the Shriners 500, Children's 500 at Phoenix Raceway. Hot damn, cannot wait. There is nothing like witnessing the stars of NASCAR battle 200 miles per hour on this 1 mile oval raceway. If you haven't seen it, it's fantastic. It's out in the Foothill Mountains, and 40 drivers are going to compete against the likes of, I don't know, Chase Elliott. Ever heard of him? Denny Hamlin, Bubba Wallace, and my personal favorite, you guys know, 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion.
That's your front runner.
Joey Logano, baby. It's the best-in-class fan experience the whole family won't forget. Get your tickets now. 7th through the 9th. It's the perfect appetizer ahead of free agency. We'll see you at the big race. NASCAR, baby.
Yeah, Johnny's such a Joey Logano fan. He's sitting there in his Shell gasoline fire suit as he's watching the games. He's or the races. He's so locked in.
Yeah,
or the Pennzoil. He's rocking the Pennzoil fire suit. He's such
love the red and yellow that he reps. Love it.
Yeah, who doesn't? Who doesn't? No guarantees as far as the offseason goes for the Arizona Cardinals. We can talk about all the free agencies, but Monti Ossenfort's got to get the deal done. As far as getting the deal done for you, as far as buying your next home, we'll look no further than our friends over at Carol Royce. Carol Royce's team over there. Give them a call, 480-776-5231. We love Carol Royce and her team. Of course, your home sold guaranteed. Whether it's your first time as a home buyer, or of course, a seasoned pro, buying a home can be tricky. But Carol Royce, she's going to give you, obviously, the best options as far as getting yourself in a brand new home. Check them out right now. How about you're going to get access to homes that you're just not going to be able to find on Zillow or other houses in markets that are picked over at realtor.com. No, Carol Royce, she's got you options that are off market availability, and she's going to put you in a home. And if you love it within the 18 months and you're not happy about it, Carol Royce is going to buy it back from you. Buy one of Carol Homes and she'll buy yours for cash. If you're ready to find your dream home, take the next step. Call Carol Royce or visit Carol Royce at carolroyceteam.com. That's carolroyceteam.com, and give her a call as well at 480-776-5231. Terms and conditions on the website do apply.
Big thanks to everybody watching, wherever you're watching. Drop a like. We got almost 800 people watching live. Drop a like. Helps tremendously. 500 or more every single day leading up and through free agency helps exponentially. There's K1, the franchise quarterback, hitting a like. Who do you think Kyler Murray wants the Cardinals to upgrade with in free agency?
Probably. I think he would like to see a guard, but he understands obviously the creating opportunities would come from the defensive side of the football and upgrading the defensive front seven. as far as like what we've heard from the franchise quarterback on team building, he's had a pretty high batting average. Remember when he wanted him to get him offensive lineman, tap into Tristan Wirfs, maybe go to his alma mater and get a CeeDee Lamb. Like those would have been pretty good picks, but the general manager didn't listen to him.
No, he was foolish, like he was a lot about most everything he did. Is it foolish to critique the Cardinals supporting cast? This came out today. The Arizona Cardinals, the NFL ranks in supporting cast in terms of average team PFF, rush receiving, pass blocking, and run blocking. So everything over the course of the last 5 seasons, where do the Arizona Cardinals fall with every team? How about this? Not very good. 19th, 25th, 30th, 18th, and 7th. This is the best supporting cast Kyler Murray has had in due time during basically his NFL tenure, with an average via PFF and in of PFF 19.1. Not great. And here's what I'll say. The Cardinals during the Cliff Kingsbury years were not PFF darlings, right? We'd always get confused. We do shows and the team would be winning and it'd be like, well, PFF hates the Cardinals, right? So Ossenfort and Gannon, PFF is not the end all be all as we talk about, Bo. You see now it's like they're starting to align more and more with what PFF like qualifies as like good players. But I think it just shows you like nobody's argued, even when Kyler Murray has struggled, like the team is not good. The pass protection is bad. The route concepts aren't great. The receivers are old. I think the most frustrating part is the fact that 2024, it was like, hot damn, this team's got a lot going for it. Pro Bowl tight end, right? Good offensive line. And then they couldn't produce more than they did. I mean, Kyler Murray had more touchdowns in 2020 and 2021 than he did in 2024 with a worse supporting cast. How does that make sense?
Yeah, and how about Monti Ossenfort in his first season, what was supposed to be just a tear-down rebuild year, gets a higher mark than Kime got the previous 3 seasons.
Solid.
Where he was just spending money, trading draft capital to improve the roster. And like you look at people, you're right. They just kind of casuals will look at it as like, oh, well, back in 2020, he had, they had Larry Fitzgerald and DeAndre Hopkins on the same team and Christian Kirk, but like their offensive line stunk. It was terrible. Like this is like the supporting cast rating. That's what it's all about. As you said, it's rushing, it's receiving, it's pass blocking, it's run blocking grades. And I guarantee you, like as much as DeAndre Hopkins was a beast and took their rating up and was doing some heavy lifting in 2021, where they only got up as high as 25, it was because they were bottom of the barrel as far as pass blocking and and run blocking.
I just feel like Kyler Murray, to me, it's like the critics who were heavy on him early feel justified after this year, but I feel like Kyler Murray did more for the team maybe and was asked to do more in 2020 and 2021 where those criticisms were not warranted. And now it's like, well, they need him to do more, but maybe they don't ask him to do more. As JG said, he's going to be better next year. I mean, it's just as cut and dry as what Gannon said in our interview yesterday. And go watch it. I encourage everybody. We've segmented it out on YouTube. Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., everybody is going to be infinitely better. But Bowie did confirm to you, like, our explosives, they have to improve, right? We're efficient, but the explosives have got to be there. So, like, again, the good news about the Cardinals supporting staff is everything, for the most part, is status quo. Froholt, Paris, Trey, Marvin, Michael Wilson, James Conner, backups, depth, key role players, save for a couple offensive linemen, maybe 2. It's all there. So you can sell me on continual maturation. And as JG said, Bo, timing. It just takes time. I want instant gratification. I watched Jaden Daniels almost get to the Super Bowl. I'm like, I'm jealous. I want that for myself. We're going to have to just wait another year.
Yeah. Like you see for the first time they're in the green this year, according to this chart that Mike Clay put together, or I'm sorry, even Hard Tits. You've got, let's put it back up here, Dame, if you don't mind. And you look at the Cardinals from 2020 to 2024. It's like, well, we're going in the year 7, but he's been bottom of the NFL, before Monti Ossenfort got here in 2022 and 2021,
right?
Close to the worst supporting cast in the league. So you got to count those variables into the equation. And like everybody wants to see him perform and take his game to the levels that you believe he can take him to. But now you finally see him get an opportunity to do so with a supporting cast that's on par. I mean, 7 is what a testament to what Monti Ossenfort can do in a short time, and in fortifying the offensive line, and then getting a collection of playmakers in here. I mean, Monti Ossenfort did that in 2 off seasons. It's pretty incredible what he was able to accomplish.
We debut a new segment right around the corner. Pour one out here on PHNX Cardinals. Fired up here on a Football Tuesday. But before we do, let's talk about how fired up I am to dabble on Tip-Off Tuesday, NBA style, with our friends at Bet365. It's never ordinary with Bet365. See for yourself with our Tip-Off Tuesday offer. Place qualifying parlay bets totaling $20 or more, maybe not on the Suns, on Tuesday NBA games, and get up to $25 in bonus bets. Again, they'll up and match it. Now, terms and conditions apply. All you got to do, download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Choose your offer. Find out why, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary. Plus, if you're a new customer right now, you get $150 in bonus bets by placing a mere $5 bet. No questions asked, win or lose. All you got to do, deposit just a 10 spot, and you're getting $150. How great is that? You got to be 21 years and older, located physically here in Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
Love that. Bet365. Lots of good action out there on the board. Never ordinary. Also, lots of great things going on with our friends over at Pure Edibles. Pure Edibles, founded in Arizona, available in 130 dispensaries statewide. Pure gummies, not covered in sugar like all of their competitors. Now, it's a full-fledged candy company offering gummies, kicks, which are just like Starbursts. Also, you've got chews that are soft candies like caramel, and hard candies, Pure Effects. They are labeled right there on the tin can. You know exactly what effects to expect. Pure offers gummies for sleep support, as well as candies with uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana derived from THC. Pure, created up the road, I-17 in Flagstaff, a noble herb dispensary. Home of Pure Edibles is now made right here, Phoenix, Arizona. They're in the big leagues. Welcome to the show. Pure gummies designed to be ripped, bit in half by making them shareable, easy to dial in your exact dose. Go find yourself some Pure Edibles around the Valley of the Sun at all 130 dispensaries in our great state.
Fired up for our partnership with Pure Edibles. Fired up, everybody. Drop a like. We got 800 people watching live on YouTube alone. We appreciate all of you. Like this video, subscribe here, and I'm fired up. Debuting a new segment here on PHNX Cardinals. It's called Pour One Out. Let's get started with Pour One Out. Pour one out for our guy, or maybe not our guy so much anymore, after he ran a 4.5 at the NFL Combine. James Pierce Jr. Pour one out. He supposedly he's a bad hang. Not a good guy, James Pierce Jr. Pour one out on James Pierce Jr. Good hang vibes. I don't love hearing this. Not a good dude.
No, there was a report yesterday. I have to find where it was, but saying that the Tennessee football program could not only breathe easier once Pierce left campus, but that his pitch count in the SEC was not injury related. Pierce was reportedly seen undeniably uncoachable and a player with 1 foot out the door this season, giving his coaches little incentive to put him in full time. So pouring one out for our guy, James Pierce Jr., and him going 16th to the Cardinals, despite his solid combine that people were expecting. He's an athletic freak.
Yeah, this is saying Pierce was seen as undeniably uncoachable and as a player with 1 foot out the door already this season, giving his coaches little incentive to put him on the field full time. Disappointing for a prospect that ran sub 4.5, but we'll pour it out to James Pierce Jr. Good hang vibes. The vibes are not good. How about the vibes with the San Francisco 49ers? Pour one out here on a Football Tuesday.
I love this.
The 49ers championship window. Anytime you're shipping off Deebo Samuel for a 5th round pick. Looks like it's a done deal here, but we might have to tweak these graphics. Damon, I'm not sure. Pour one out for a team that shipped off Deebo Samuel and potentially wants to ship off Brandon Ayuk, who's got a knee, a big time issues with his tendons in his knee after he tore it up last year, and he just signed that extension. They're supposedly willing to eat a bunch of money, Bo, with the issues on his knee, and they're looking to start Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings week 1.
Pour one out for the old San Francisco 49ers.
What's wrong with the graphic? My guy Noah Woolbrick took, tons of time. I'm sure it took him all day long.
Phenomenal. These are phenomenal graphics.
I guess I'm wondering what Johnny wanted, because I feel like this was like a perfect encapsulation of pour one out.
Pour one out.
Let's pour one out with Debo getting poured out.
You think it's too disrespectful, Johnny?
I don't know if it's like too literal. It might be too literal. I don't know. It's like, oh no, did something happen to Debo? No, he's fine. He's totally fine.
It does kind of like where it says pouring out, it could be like rest in peace, but that's what pouring it out is.
Yeah,
you pour it out for your fallen homies.
We're not pouring one out for Debo. We're pouring one out for the Niners championship window. We're pouring it out for the Niners championship window. So we'll workshop it. We'll get back in the lab.
K2 says it looks like a puddle of urine. That could be probably what people don't like.
Yeah. Pour one out for the Niners champion. What do you make of San Francisco? Because I do see a lot of people that are like, they're going to retool. They have all these draft picks. My ass. You don't ship off Debo and lose Ayuk, and Trent Williams is 100. I mean, the Niners got swept by the
Adam
Cardinals.
Peters is in Washington now. Rand Carthon went to Tennessee and then ran himself out of Nashville. But like the people that were making all the good picks before with John Lynch are gone. And now they've got Kyle Shanahan with his hands too much in the draft process, and they're taking Ricky Pearsall way too early, taking him in the 1st round of the draft. He's going to be a good player, but he's not a 1st round pick.
No.
And that's just like they're going to continue to make boneheaded moves because, I think that the guys that were helped keep them on track and really build one of the most talented rosters that really kind of cracked this window wide open are gone.
Yeah, I'll remember where I was when Bo turned his back on Ricky.
I didn't turn my back.
No, you did. It's okay.
I didn't.
I didn't like him at all.
Johnny had
Johnny
Xavier Legette over him.
Johnny, you've made it very clear how you evaluate wide receivers, and if your skin color is a little bit too light.
Jesus Christ!
It's the truth.
Never say that.
You hated Ladd too.
Never. I didn't like either. Ladd McConkey barely played at Georgia. He was hurt all the time. Ricky Pearsall was mocked to the Cardinals at early 2nd round. I liked Ricky Pearsall as like a late day 3 pick, but no, I do think, or excuse me, late on day 2 in the 3rd round. By the way, Xavier Legette, I mean, he was more productive than Ricky Pearsall last year.
Not fair. I mean, the guy got shot a week before the season started.
Can I pour one out? A little impromptu pour
one out. Pour one out.
I saw this via Matthew Berry. He did his 25 most interesting rumors he heard at the NFL Combine. He utilized one that he heard from this show when we talked with Matthew Berry.
Don't you dare.
What? Really?
No, you go ahead. I don't know where you're going with this.
We were talking to Matthew Berry that we had heard that the Cardinals, if Marvin Harrison Jr. was there for, they were going to take it. And he used that in his 25 rumors he heard at the Combine.
Wait, say that again?
We said that if Marvin Harrison Jr. was there at 4, the Cardinals would take him at 4. If they don't trade out. And he used that. And then, so this little nugget, speaking of division rivals, multiple people I trust told me Kelly Stafford has a significant influence around the Rams organization. That's via Matthew Berry.
Bo wanted to use this on Pour One Out. We didn't know how to phrase it. And I'm glad now with this graphic, I didn't need Kelly Stafford's face with the yellow liquid being poured on.
It would have been a McVay.
We'll see. We'll see on this one. If you're watching with us with one of our many streaming partners, jumping over to gophnx.com. Welcome everybody. Become a diehard. Gophnx.com right now as well. This is the chat's saying what I cannot say, but Kelly Stafford I mean, she's had.
I'll read you the article
Yeah.
or the snippet from Matthew Berry. I don't know
Yeah.
why you think that this is a bad thing. This says, yes, I said the Staffords. Multiple sources told me among the strained relationships, one was between the franchise and Stafford's wife, Kelly Stafford. According to one source, Kelly was supposed to be the one who wanted Matthew to play elsewhere. Then another told me Kelly was the one who wanted to stay in LA. They have 4 young kids and didn't want to uproot them. So who knows what part of it is. However, I don't think it matters who wanted to leave and who wanted to stay. Obviously, the husband's going to talk about his wife about everything, especially if it involves changing his job. So it's not that big of a deal. Ultimately, all I get to get done is the Staffords were back where they belong. But I'll say this. I was surprised how often her name came up during the combine, and not just as it relates to Matthew. Multiple people I trust told me Kelly Stafford has significant influence around the Rams organization. Multiple people.
I don't believe that at all.
What are you talking about?
That is one of the craziest things I've ever heard in my entire life.
I love Matthew Berry. I think he's really smart. I think that is misplaced.
He's only reporting what the conversations he had.
Who's he talking to? Joe Blow from Bleacher Report. The Rams are an elite operation. I hate to say it.
Wow,
Stafford
I was such a Rams fan.
No, I just like the Rams didn't have a first round pick for like 10 years. They immediately have one.
Who knew that the only way to get Johnny, the team that he buried 3 times last season, is you come after Kelly Stafford?
I don't love.
You can say whatever you want. Now look at him. He buried him 3 times this
season.
Take
this off the screen,
damn it. You take Kelly Stafford's name off your he's Will Smith in the Academy Awards. Take Matthew Stafford's wife's name out your mouth.
Take this off the screen right now. I don't like the Kelly Stafford went on that podcast and talked about getting with Stafford's, teammate to, get at Matthew.
Georgia.
Like, I'm not a huge fan of Kelly Stafford. I just don't think that like the elites of the Rams front office are.
She was also airing dirty laundry about how upset she was they were getting rid of Cooper Kupp. Wash Cooper Kupp.
I think it's much to do about nothing. The Rams.
You think Kelly's in the war room on draft night?
Trying to knocking on the door.
If you're telling me it was this franchise within the last 20 years, I would believe you for sure. 100%. Kelly Stafford walking around telling people what to do. I think the Rams are just too high level.
Jeez, man.
You think Les Snead and Sean McVay are listening to Kelly Stafford? Maybe. Here's what I will say. We could only be so lucky that we could have Kelly Stafford destroy the Rams from within. That might be the only thing that helps us win a division title for the first time in 10 years. Come on, Kelly, do your bidding. We need the Rams to implode.
Man, I try to bury the Rams, and Johnny just completely pushes back.
It's his favorite team.
Yeah, it really feels like it.
So what do we think of Pour One Out?
Pull up his phone. Kelly Stafford's podcast is going to be the top of his listening chart.
That was on her podcast. Yeah. Your super chat's coming up. It's PHNX
Spotify Wrapped. Johnny Venerable, Kelly Stafford and friends.
You didn't want to do the last Pour One Out?
I don't know if our show can handle it. I don't know.
You don't want the views from that?
We're pouring one out, and this might be the only time we talk about him for fear of being canceled on this show. Pour one out for rational Shedeur Sanders draft takes. If you've looked at the draft takes for Shedeur Sanders on Twitter, it's like politics. I want no part of either side. I want out of this business. Josina Anderson wrote 20 paragraphs on it. People were coming at her, and I really like Josina.
I've never seen anything like that.
It's like one of those. It's like the thing. Congratulations, or I'm sorry, I'm not reading all that. I'm not reading all that on Shedeur Sanders. Sorry.
That's what Kevin Thomas, my co-host, the Wildcat Show, sent me yesterday regarding it. But I've never seen a think piece written about a prospect because supposedly one team's position coach didn't find him likable.
Yeah, it was out there.
It seemed like we were just. Here's my problem with it, and we, you guys don't have to say anything, but I just am so I'm so locked in on this topic that I can't for the life of me understand how you can jump from one conclusion to the next there, that the implication is that this position coach is a racist, essentially. And it's like, if he is truly, then tell us what he said and out him so that we can get this guy removed from his position. If you're just going to imply it based off of no actual evidence, I think that that's really irresponsible reporting.
I think that there's a chance that Jackson Dart could get drafted ahead of Shedeur Sanders. What do you think about that?
I think he's got a long way to go as far as Dart. I mean, the thing is, like, the teams that are firmly in Shedeur Sanders' camp are firmly there. I don't think it's going to be one you're going to be wishy-washy on. But I agree with the latter. What Damon said. But you can't. It's crazy enough that there was this long, drawn-out tweet about this, and then also, like, you can't out your sources. Like, that would have ended her career. Like, it's already, like, she's not even working for anybody right now, right? It's just her own business.
Did she out a source?
No, if she wouldn't be able to get any information if she ever did that.
It does seem like it was the Jets because she said top 7, which is a really weird way to phrase that.
The vibes around Shedeur Sanders are not good right now. Can we agree on that? There's a lot of articles being written about.
Well, I'm just curious why he didn't want to get up the draft. Why he didn't want to try to outperform Cam Ward, even if it was like too Herculean of an effort to get up past Cam Ward as QB1.
I think it's tough if internally everybody at Colorado and then that conference has said you're the top quarterback for 2 years and you're going to be drafted first overall, and now it's going to be not you. I mean, we all assume Cam Ward's going to be the top quarterback drafted, whether the Giants trade up or the Raiders or whomever. But I think Shedeur, I think it could be and maybe an Aaron Rodgers like fall for Shedeur Sanders. I just think this quarterback class is so bad. These teams don't want to get caught like, hey, you know what? I think it'll be really telling these quarterbacks that get signed in free agency and who's like Justin Fields potentially being viewed as a starter with the Pittsburgh Steelers because they don't like this QB class. So it's an indictment of the guys minus Cam Ward. I think Cam Ward's like the only guy where it's like you feel like that's a safe pick. There's nothing safe about the rest of these guys. Will Howard, bro. Will Howard pour one out for him being in a mock draft selection of this show. One of the worst combine performances I've ever seen. Oh my God.
Hey, but he's never worked with these receivers. Like he had a historically bad performance. Can we just say that and not try to make excuses for the kid? Because all other draft prospects work with receivers they've never worked with before.
Will Howard, national champion, worst quarterback at the combine. That draft Ohio State players. That's what that tells me. Draft all the Ohio State players. That's how good that team was. We got your super chats on deck here. It's PHNX Cardinals. Will Howard couldn't come up money at the combine, but our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union sure can. It's the official credit union of the Arizona Cardinals, PHNX Sports, and the Venerable household. That's because for more than 84 years, Desert Financial has been Arizona's largest, most trusted local credit union. I'm so fired up that they're my credit union of choice. I have upgraded. You can too. They've got teams of financial experts who are committed to their members, like you, like me, the community that we live in here in the Valley and beyond, offering financial solutions tailored to helping real people achieve their financial goals and dreams. Look for Desert Financial for checkings accounts, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. Plus, no better place to rep the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. You can see it on the screen there. The player, the helmet, the Redbird. I've got the Redboard. It is fantastic. You can too. Show your team spirit online. Open up a free checking account. I mentioned it's free. And get that Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card in the mail just a couple days after the fact. All you got to do, go to desertfinancial.com/CardinalsBo to get started.
Love it. Also love getting a ride from our friends over at Waymo. We love Waymo. I've got the Waymo One app downloaded on my phone. I've already utilized it so many times. Waymo is the ride-hailing service that you want because it's unbelievable. Getting yourself to spring training games, to and from the airport. What's going on? You got Waymo. You can utilize it here in Phoenix. They've done over 150,000 trips per week from San Francisco to LA to Phoenix. Waymo's the first company to serve fully autonomous rides with no human behind the wheel in 2015. You just get in, put your stuff away. You sit down, you relax, you're on your phone, you're listening to calming music. Or if you want to amp things up a little bit, take it to 11, you can do that in your own Waymo ride. Waymo, 40 million miles of real-world driving experience. That's enough to drive to the moon and back 80 times. Check out Waymo. Download the Waymo app. Request a ride. Do it. Download, request, ride Waymo One in the Waymo One app.
Everybody like this video. We got almost 1,000 people watching live. If you're watching on Twitter, jump on over to YouTube right now. Hit that like button. Do us a favor. Smash that like button. It helps exponentially. Leave comments after the show. Whatever engagement we can get. You can tell us we're just not doing a very good job. It'll hurt my feelings, but it will help the show. We love those comments. We love that engagement. We love our super chats here. Just 2 today. Let's kick it off with Spencer Vance, $4.99. Oh, Bo, love this one. Gambo mentioned today, Bo, that Trey McBride and the Cardinals are working on an extension and could get it done, quote, soon. Monty might want to have a more firm number going into free agency, Bo.
Wow, did I just say that earlier in the show?
Trey said it on our podcast, essentially.
Yeah, but they don't. That place would never acknowledge any of the news, even if it's from the actual player's mouth.
We had Trey McBride on our show saying that they would have discussions this offseason about an extension, hoping to getting them done soon.
Yeah, he said he would expect his agent and Monty to get together soon, and then Monty said it's a priority. So,
what about when Cam Skattebo came on our show and confirmed he was going to visit the Cardinals?
Yeah,
I think
crickets from the flagship for both the Sun Devils.
Hey, congratulations, keeping your readers informed, man. Just we got to bring Skattebo and McBride and a microphone in their face for them to confirm, and it's still just like, what?
Yeah.
This network,
it's a disservice to the fans that are seeking information from that.
This network will report and echo others' reports when they're on top of it and correct.
Yep.
Just putting it out there. Just come on, guys. Got Trey McBride, Cam Skattebo confirming big ticket news. Hey, the AZ Central, clap it up for him. Ran with the Skattebo story. We appreciate it.
Donnie Druin, SI, because they want to give their readers what they seek, and that's Cardinals information or Sun Devils information.
Be very cautious, all 1,000 people watching right now, of people trying to stymie information and control a narrative instead of giving you the information firsthand, secondhand. We're not in control. Guess who's in control? You are, the readers, the viewers, the audience. Certain places respect that. Certain places, in my opinion, do not. Illadre at $9.99. Johnny V preaching the hostile gospel today. Well, I appreciate that. Probably talking about earlier, if you're just joining us, thank you, Illadre, friend of the program, by the way, that the Arizona Cardinals top 2 free agent targets, we assume Josh Sweat, Milton Williams, we've heard that from Benjamin Albright, among others, will not be franchise tagged, will not have an extension barring something unforeseen with the Philadelphia Eagles, will be available for the Arizona Cardinals next Monday. And we know this tampering period is hogwash because deals get done minutes after. So there's a potential right now that the Cardinals certainly know what those players are asking for and, maybe hammering out the parameters of a deal. We'd love to see it.
How about our guy AVB Aaron Van Buren saying, do not bring back Reddick. Don't be the old Cards.
What does that mean? The old players? I would push back on that, Aaron, just say Reddick played well here and he played well under Gannon. No reason to believe you can't get him on a 2-year deal for him to come and be a quality rotational piece starter. And I also think I'm with you. I don't want the Cardinals to go back with, AJ Green and JJ Watt and a bunch of old timers, but they added almost 30 first and second year players the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. This is the time to get some players that have some seasoning that can get you over the top. Now, I think I've come around to the idea Sweat would be better than Reddick in terms of the ceiling, but I think you could get Redick for cheaper. And I think the floor is higher with Redick. I worry about the floor with Sweat. I feel like Sweat, first time he gets the bag, could be trouble.
Yeah, and it's a financial flexibility, right? I mean, if you can lock in a big ticket free agent like Milton Williams, like we discussed, debated, what's the likelihood that you can get a second? And it's tough because it's so competitive out there. There's 31 other teams that are identifying, a premium position, and the top player at that position is Josh Sweat. It could be tough to get a deal done with both of them. Then you have to look to who's down the depth chart as far as the free agent edge rusher rankings. You look to Haason Reddick because there's familiarity there. There's less homework you have to do on your free agent, and you can get him at a much discounted price. This is a good question, and it's tough to answer here on Tuesday before free agency. But it's ID the Mike 91. Is it 100% chance we sign Milton or Sweat? You think if you were a betting man, Johnny, are you throwing down your mortgage? Are you mortgaging the future as far as your finances that the Cardinals would sign one of them, Milton Williams or Josh Sweat?
No, because we've been burned with Ossenfort respectfully twice already, especially last year. Do I feel like it's? I hate doing percentages because then people come back and they're like, "You're a moron. You're wrong." Here
we could pour some out next week about you putting percentages on things.
I'll do 100%. Who is that super chat from, or who is that comment?
ID
from?
the Mike 91.
ID the Mike. It's 100% certainty that they're going to spend big money this offseason. 100% certainty. They are not sitting out free agency. And people are like, well, they didn't sit out last year. They're spending more money than they did last offseason. I 100% believe that. I think they're going to give out a 4-year contract. But to say to put it into just 2 players, even though they should do that, even though everybody we've talked to on and off air believes that's what they will do, at the end of the day, it takes 2 to tango. And I think that Milton Williams, I know Milton Williams and Josh Sweat love Jonathan Gannon. And they're like, who wouldn't want to go from Philadelphia to Scottsdale? But, what happens if another team goes completely nuts and the Cardinals are like, that's just fiscally irresponsible, Panthers or Patriots or whatever. So I will go, I hate doing percentages. I hate it. I'll go 75%. So 3 out of 4, 3/4. But I think they have a great chance. And guess what? If they don't get it done and they underwhelm in free agency, this show, unlike another network, will hold them accountable for dropping the ball. My co-host, and you can see the clip on Twitter right now, we clipped it, talked to Jonathan Gannon about free agency and asked him, is now the time to be aggressive? And I believe push back on the narrative that, they've been active, but not aggressive enough. And you can hear Jonathan Gannon candid about last offseason, role players, certain offseasons you go all in on, or certain offseasons you be more aggressive. So I think the time is now. If it's not now, Gannon and Ossenfort are trying to get extensions, are trying to be around for the next 5 years. They'd love to see this facility be built in 2027, right? You got to make the playoffs this year. If you're Ossenfort, this is just like the BS that we hear certain people say. It's like they're not allowed to spend money. Ossenfort's cheap. They want to spend money to win games. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Now, Ossenfort, though, has to be able to land a big ticket free agent, though. We just have, until he does it, we're all going to be skeptical. The minute he does it, it's like, let's go. It's time to party.
Let's check in with Josh, $5 super chat. Thank you, Josh. I can't believe y'all left Jamie and Sherwood off the list. Good against the run, great against the pass, young, healthy, and wouldn't mind a starting inside linebacker money. Sherwood's a guy that we've brought up multiple times this offseason. He was, I think, the defensive MVP for the Jets last season. I think he would fit the Arizona Cardinals organization very well. I just think as far as our top 10 guys, we're looking at more premium positions. I know, like guard, you're not going to say premium position, but where the Cardinals really absolutely want to upgrade in free agency. But I could see them going out and sign a guy, and Sherwood definitely fits a lot of what they want.
Monster rest of the week here. Drop a like. Fran Duffy's going to join us tomorrow. You can read his work at gophnx.com. Become a diehard right now. I think it's just still $48 for the entirety of the year. You get the complete inner workings of Fran and his draft evaluations, breakdowns. You get a free piece of merch. You can get this hat right here. So much good stuff, but you got to become a diehard. We're going to do a mock draft tomorrow, and I think we're also going to give the audience our top 5 players at 16 right now. And then coming up on Thursday, we'll tease it. We'll just say we got a big announcement for tomorrow. Should we just say that? But I feel like people get mad when we say we have a big announcement, so maybe we shouldn't tease it.
There's not another rules violation as far as just the little contests we're going. So that's not going to be part of the announcement, and a signing is not going to be a part of the announcement. But
you're telling me that the big announcement tomorrow is not Milton Williams?
It's not, but it's a big announcement as it pertains to this humble little podcast. Can I bring up one thing? There's some back and forth in the chat about Monti Ossenfort being on the chopping block. Damon, can you just bring up the Cardinals, the rankings that as far as the building around the supporting cast rankings that we had? This is why Monti Ossenfort's not in trouble. He's not on the chopping block. Look at the previous performance from Steve Keim, where the supporting cast was 19, 25, 30, and 18. Or I'm sorry, 19, 25, 30. Ossenfort's first year, he's just in a rebuilding year, has 18, which was higher than Keim's previous 3 years, and then has been in the top 10. Monti Ossenfort is building a strong roster top to bottom. And he's got the supporting cast for the offense pretty dialed in. So, Monti Ossenfort is not on the chopping block, even though this is a very pivotal offseason for the organization.
Monti Ossenfort is in his 3rd year. Steve Keim was enabled for 10 years, 1 division title, 1 playoff win in 10 years. I think we can give Monti Ossenfort some grace here. I don't know, just me.
And want more from him.
Yes, for sure. Listen, this show, this time next week, we'll be taking people to woodshed if free agents are coming and going of note on our top 10 list, and Monti Ossenfort isn't closing with free agents. I don't expect that to happen. The Cardinals just have too much money. They have too much money, and the needs are so apparent, and they know that, and they know there is external pressure. I mean, like they would have to be completely inept, which they are not, to blow this next week. They are going to spend money, and we got to hope that they can land one of the 2 big fishes, if not the big 2. I mean, this valley of fans, Cardinal fans across the country, across the globe, you deserve to celebrate a major free agent acquisition next week. You deserve to celebrate Milton Williams and what that would represent for the investment of your team, especially after those grades last week.
So tortured. Such a tortured fan base. They deserve it. You guys deserve it. You absolutely do. Like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports, and of course, wherever you listen to podcasts, leave a 5-star rating, leave a review if you can. Liking this video, it does wonders. Follow the show at PHNX_Cardinals and PHNX_Sports. So many great things going on around this little fanboy podcast. Can't wait to kind of clue you in, and we'll give you some more insight in the exclusive member Discord. But you got to become a diehard in order to do so. Go PHNX.com. For Damon, Dawg, for Johnny Venerable, I'm Bo Brack. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Talk to you on Wednesday with Fran Duffy. Some mock drafting as well.
We all silly like the mayor.